From Free Cup Studio in Seoul, this is the GSL.
Sorry guys, I had to finish chewing my food. I'm back. We're back. What a day.
Yeah, welcome,
what a day.
Welcome back to the new reality where Scarlett beats everybody and is apparently the best player in the world.
Everything
if not one of them.
Is changing.
Or, that was reverse, but dude, she's yeah, it's crazy. This is so exciting though. I actually never thought we'd see this day.
Pretty crazy.
I mean, Taste and I have been around StarCraft for about 20 years now.
Let me tell you something. We have wanted to see this day for some time.
Yeah.
We have been jonesing for it.
Yeah, to see a non-Korean pro that truly just plays actually on this level. Not just like occasionally winning, but actually on this level consistently. This is exciting stuff. But look, the group is not over. The group is still highly contested. It's going to be Zest against Leenock. Innovation crossing his fingers that Leenock wins. Leenock crossing his fingers that Leenock wins. Zest getting ready to make 3 to 4 oracles after a Phoenix.
We must point out, guys, Innovation still being in this group. He could still get eliminated. That's another big narrative that we have to focus on. Innovation getting eliminated anywhere that's not the top 4 is weird.
Yeah. Zest can beat Innovation. It's absolutely a fact.
For sure. Now, Leenock also looked very strong in the games that we just casted to start the day off.
Yeah, he did look good.
But that being said, Zest was holding his own against Scarlett, actually losing 1-2. So far, Zest has done the best against Scarlett out of anybody so far.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak.
I just can't believe it. This is so crazy. It's awesome.
Zest.
But as you said, Zest actually looked good against Scarlett. That game 1, I think that he thinks it was a fluke. I actually think it was a... The thing is, Scarlett's great, and she won. But if his oracles see that attack incoming, I don't think it looks like that. I don't think it ends there. Maybe she wins anyways.
Titan,
right?
EX1,
so I think that his PVZ is pretty darn good right now. I thought that was a good series from him.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed to have a very good understanding of how to navigate early game going into mid game. I thought Scarlett showed, especially positionally in their macro game they played, where Scarlett came on top. I thought she showed a really unmatched style, and I don't know if that's really how Leenock approaches this matchup. Leenock is definitely a good player, but approaches the game in a different way. So this may look quite different.
I think it will. But, you know, Leenock definitely can pull the aggressions in, or I don't know, that's a weird way to put it, but definitely can get aggressive like we've seen a lot from Scarlett. But if he paid close attention, I'm sure he did to Zest series against Scarlett. Well, aggression is not the right thing to do against Zest. His build is actually nearly aggression-proof. It wasn't aggression-proof because he did lose that one aggression game from Scarlett against Scarlett, but that was more due to his flying the oracles slightly wrong, right? If he had flown them in a slightly different path, he sees it all coming. Maybe he holds it, maybe he doesn't, but right, you don't want to bet. If you know your opponent's going to make 4 oracles, you're not going to set up a Roach Ravager attack.
Well, I think it's not just that, but it's the fact that you already have a Zerg that's more aggressive than you in this group. I think it's completely fair to say Scarlett's got better aggro builds than Leenock. So why would you try to do that if Zest has already gotten practice against that, already gotten prep against that?
I tend to agree with you on these points.
So similar to the other PVZs that we've seen already from Zest, he is going to get that Stargate. We should not be surprised if it goes from 1 Phoenix into a handful of oracles.
Yeah. By the way, that patch allowing adepts to keep moving where you told them to after you shade. What a quality of life adjustment for Protoss right there, man.
Oh, yeah.
My little adept, he like stutters when I tell him to do it. No more tasteless. See that? The smoothness, the adept's coming out.
Another good little fix.
Yeah, I like it.
An adept going to not shade. Oh, excuse me. He's going to shade in.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that he's going for this. Like, he probably won't end up losing this adept. And, you know, you won't necessarily, like, kill anything. Maybe you'll get a Ling or something. But this is a fantastic scout. right? Like, if the Lings are not completely on top of you, if they don't have like 6 Lings on top of that shade, you can get in and get out. And we saw there, he just checked. He knows that there's not an attack on the way. You know, maybe this is the difference between, does he make 3 oracles, does he make 4 oracles, how quickly does he get all his other tech, his expansion.
So, as is par for the course with an opening like this coming from Zest, Zest does take out the first Overlord. There's still one stray one on the map. That one's headed northbound towards Scarlett's third base. And from here, the Oracles come out, and Zest just wants to try to get as many kills on workers and continue to scout and get a read on what direction Leenock wants to take this game to.
And Leenock, we can't really tell quite yet. You know, making an evolution chamber, okay, that's fine. Not for drops, certainly. There's spores on the way, as there should be. Just kind of droning up. Pretty normal, standard stuff, but look at this. Zest is switching it up, making double Twilight instead of double Robo. Okay, that can't be.
That's not a
on purpose,
thing.
right?
That's not a thing.
I need glaives and charge.
So, this does sometimes happen in pro matches.
Yeah.
There it is. He sees it. And the Robo base starts.
There you go.
Sometimes you're doing so many things so quickly that you actually end up doing a repeat of one structure you only needed once. A good thing Zest caught that, or not just that it would have been a waste as far as like him getting those, having just a useless structure, but also you do need the Robo out. And from here we see Zealot legs and an additional gateway.
It was funny. That was kind of like a little bit of mismicro from Zest, I think.
Well, I think the moment that he realized, oh my god, I'm making 2 of the same structure, you can spook yourself.
Oh, you could.
For sure.
I wonder, too, because where he picked up the Queen and then flew the Oracles in there, the Queen was kind of obstructing some of the view of the drones. Things like that can happen. It's a funny way for things to go down. But Charge is on the way. Those gateways finishing up now as well. Quite a few Zerglings coming down, but I don't foresee them getting in at all, of course. If the build that he did here, Leenock did, would be very good if Zest had gone for a third base quickly. When you get +1 and this many Lings, a lot of times you can get a cancel on that Nexus, but Zest has really taken his time. We can see he has a decent number of Zealots, Adepts, Sentries here before he's taking it, so these Zerglings are not really being that useful right now.
Note the patience here of Zest, not right away trying to gun those down unless he has some kind of ideal position where he can do that. So Leenock's going to take that. He'll keep outside this area, trying to see if he can get any further reads on the direction Zest is trying to take this game. That Zealot leg speed upgrade is about to finish, as we now have a point in time where all these gateways are up. It's possible Zest begins to push out with some Zealots, maybe some Archons here, and tries to be a little bit more assertive on the map.
Well, Zest is getting Psystorm, and he sends his Oracles up, both to harass and to get a bit more scouting done. It's definitely important, right? Because he's just sitting down there on top of the Lings. He's like, okay, am I going to need to use these? No, it seems like you're not actually going to attack yet. And Leenock is going into Baneling speed, that +2 melee that's so deadly against probes. Getting his Hydras as well, making some additional hatcheries. But with Psystorm already on the way, it seems like Zest kind of has the answers as of right now.
Wow, really great force fields there, taking out a good number of Zerglings and canceling those Banelings up there.
Yeah, there's a Baneling drop that's going to be coming in. Leenock did end up getting Overlord speed there.
Another great snipe there, taking out 2 of those drones.
Looks like that Baneling drop is going to come before +2 is done. Of course, with +2, a Baneling one-shots probes. So that's pretty powerful, but Baneling drops in general, pretty worthwhile on these mineral lines. A well-placed shield battery in here, though.
Let's see, actually, if Zest goes down to the bottom left here. Oh, I'm sorry. In fact, he's not. He's going to back off from that location. Instead, he's just staying out here. He's trying to get his own read on the 4th base and when and if he should try to attack into it, because definitely Protoss is powered up now. There's a lot of gateways. Immortals are continuing to come out. There's already an Observer available during this push. The 2 Oracles can pair up with the army and start to mow down Lings, especially if an Oracle is put in the right position in a big fight. They can get a lot of kills off if the Zerg doesn't target fire the Oracle down.
Yeah. By the way, I love moves like this. I thought he was going to not wait for +2, But it seems like he... Oh, wait, he's moving just
this is
before
like an
+2.
anti-timing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
that's too bad.
This is unfortunate for Leenock.
Yeah, like I guess he saw where the Phoenix was.
Oh, well, he's going to go for the Templars. Does he actually manage to catch him? Kind of a funny spread they have there.
Yeah, okay, well, I mean, if he gets... Oh, wow, that's
Yeah.
a good Templar pickup. That had 2 storms on it.
And
wow,
a second
another one.
Templar goes down.
Hey, that's significant right there. That's like 4 Psy Storms that Zest no longer has. That's a huge investment that's gone. He lost 3 High Templars, in fact.
We just saw 4 more Templars get made. The Immortals are
Wow.
continuing to be pumped out, and it looks like we might have a Hydra Bane attack over here on the 3rd base as Leenock is going to drone up the 4th base at the same time.
Dude, those High Templars are so early. This would have been 6 additional storms in this fight. 6 storms is enough to kill that army.
Okay, but if the storms are good enough, those Banelings
Ooh.
never connect.
Great control here by
Wow,
Zest.
Zest making that look easy.
Yeah.
The number of Banelings that did 0 was astounding.
Well, Zest with just on-point defense so far. Ring around the hatchery right there.
And you can see these Zealots continuing to chase further out here. But Leenock, really, that attack, completely ineffective. I see some more Overlords coming down here, but maybe we'll have another drop later on. But right now, Protoss is turtled up on 3 bases. There may be a 4th taken in a little bit. We see Zest kind of poking out. But this is a moment where, just due to how Leenock is macroed and the way this game has been teched up, he's about to become maxed out. And it seems like from there he wants to rely on drops and maybe trying to poke into areas where Zest isn't ready. But this is easier said than done for Leenock. It seems like Zest overall has had pretty good control throughout this series. He seems to have eyes all over every corner of the mini-map that he can see. I'm not sure if Zest is going to be caught off guard here.
Well, if he does get caught off guard, that is one way you can end up winning. You notice the 2 drop Overlords coming down. He tags those. That's a very excellent tag, knowing that that is one way you can absolutely lose in this position.
So far, the drop hasn't commenced yet. We see some storms coming down here. And actually doing a good job targeting the majority of these Banelings. But there are enough Hydras over here. Zest needs to come down with a little bit more of his army.
Yeah, it's starting to bring down the rest of it right now. It seems like he has enough units right there, but Leenock going towards the main base as well. A huge amount of the units. The Immortals coming to the main.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Did not do a thing, and the storms are too good there. We see an attack over here with these Hydras, but this, of course, is not really going to do much of anything. I mean, really, Zest has got just stellar defense, actually chasing away some of this army now. We may see Zest regroup and try to counterattack now. In fact, I think that's exactly what we're seeing here.
You know, I got to tell you, I feel like Leenock is doing a lot of really cool things, a lot of really intelligent things, and everything is just kind of not working out.
Yeah, Zest is basically killing these drops in its crib. And now Zest has this push coming up here. Now, I don't know how many storms and force fields he has available. I don't think it's that many. But this is scary. Protoss continues to grow. Zerg scrambles to get the 5th base operational. You know, there's a point in time where, especially when the Protoss is on a 4th base like this and everything seems to be safe, it's hard to stop them from doing really anything, especially if they're macroed up on that for a while. We have another drop in here. I believe this one should end up unloading, although one does detonate on top of the Nexus, which is, you know, not the desired result here for Leenock. But there is a big counterattack down here at the 3rd.
Yeah.
And I don't see much of anything here for Zest.
Definitely a significant amount of units down here. Some great warpins by Zest to slow down these Banelings. But, oh, man, a huge amount of probes ended up going down here. So Leenock finally gets some real quality damage done right there, killing off quite a few probes. But, oh my god, Leenock is switching into Mutalisks. That is not something that I expected to happen.
Well, it's smart. The only thing that can really hit the Mutalisks is the Archons, and the Mutants never have to fight those if they don't want to.
But will this attack kill him? Like, is there
that's
enough
what I'm
storm?
wondering. Well, with good storms, I mean, if the Mutants try to take on this attack immediately, I think it's going to be problematic. But a counterattack, on the other hand, which I believe is the direction Leenock wants to go, that'll be tough because the Mutants are going to do so much damage so quickly. However, Zest is already pushed up here, and Zest is just going to go towards the main.
Well, Leenock's going to go that way as well. Going to easily take out that 4th base. Let's not forget, there could be a recall coming up to save one of Zest's base here if he can kill everything else. Zest splitting his army into 3 or 4 directions here, just hitting everywhere at once.
The Mutalisks are going to have to come back, although it's going to be tricky. They might try to just fight the Immortals or the other stray units back here. Although I think Zest is aware that that might happen here. I mean, these Hydras coming out here. This is like so hard to cast, guys. I'm not even sure. I believe the main hatchery is about to go down. It seems like with well-placed Immortals and Templars, Protoss can also still hold here. So it's still going to be Zest on 3 bases, but a pretty disjointed Zerg as well. Okay, so the final hatchery is going to go down. The Spire also could go down as well, which means that, all right, that's it. GG.
That was a crazy one at the end there.
Yeah, that was actually one of the trickier casts I think we've had to do in the last few minutes. But you can see that really Zest had a bigger army at the end. The ability to regroup, the ability to try to staple down his defenses and just brace for impact. And Leenock's base was in shambles.
It was. Yet here he is, taking out Zest. And, Muta's in a base trade, definitely going to be scary. Zest, the thing is, his army together is very fearsome. And he tried to split up. He tried to kill a lot. Leenock went down, did his counterattack damage, knocked out basically the entire economy of Zest, and then the Mutas helped him to clean up everything. So well done there by Leenock. Definitely a down and dirty game, but he finds his damage where he can. And I do want to just bring up real quick, Tasis, about those carriers. Like, I do like carriers in general against a Zerg that is kind of like staying too long in layer tech type play sometimes, but did he go it too fast here? Leenock in a lot of ways was a bit all in. Maybe if he had stayed on ground units, invest in more High Templars, invest in more defense, more Immortals, more charge lots, that type of thing, he could have done better. I'm not sure.
I agree with you. I think the strength of that layer tech is you win the fights on the map, but if you turtle up, what is Zerg supposed to do?
Protoss Daybreak. Zest.
In a lot of ways, what we're seeing from Leenock is good, but it's sort of par for the course for like the past 15 months.
Titan EX1. Leenock.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm not saying it's bad, but it is funny to compare the two Zerg styles, comparing Scarlett's to Leenock's, where I feel like Leenock's is a little bit maybe past the expiration date. In the meta.
Okay. And to be fair, I think the Baneling drops going in, it's old, but it's also not something we saw used a lot, right? The +2 Baneling drops, and then he hunted High Templars with it. So there were some cool moves in there that were kind of, not the meta we watched all in the second half last year. But at the same time, this very Hydra-heavy style is very good against Zest. In fact, that's how Laser picked Zest apart in a lot of ways, right? Zest is always at the very top of the ladder, playing the very top players who are at the lead of the metagame very oftentimes. So, I don't know. Maybe this catches him off guard a little bit, having to play against that much. And again, if your opponent isn't going into Hive, if your opponent isn't going into Lurkers, I don't like the carriers there as much, right?
Yeah.
I think if your opponent's going towards Broods, get Tempest. If they're going towards Lurkers, I think the carriers can be fantastic. But if they're on Hydra Bane, you got to be careful, because that is an explosive army, and if you screw up at all, they're going to get you.
Well, you're not getting something that is an immediate response to for instance, all those Banelings and Hydras, right? You're kind of almost trying to tech past it, but you're not really acknowledging it, and it doesn't make you stronger against it. Where Hydra Bane, if you're attacked by that a couple times and you don't die, well, where did all the Zerg's gas go? Into Banelings that probably didn't detonate on the proper units. Mm-hmm. And in some ways, the Zerg is just putting themselves behind.
Yeah, you're quite right. A few extra carriers, 2 carriers, then 4 carriers. Against Hydra Bane, this doesn't actually do anything. And I'm sure people are remembering games they've had where masses of carriers just slaughter a Hydra Bane army. Yeah, okay. That can occur. That isn't this type of game, right, where people are at each other's throat, they're actually attacking each other. It's lower numbers because it's not Supreme Late Game. The carriers are not as useful in those situations.
Okay, this is a little bit concerning. This did just come in. Oh my God, is the Adept going to live? Go, 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 go.
Wow.
I was so sure that was going to die.
It's funny, right? Because he really tried to get up there this time, like he did last game.
Yeah.
Remember, we were talking specifically about this. I was saying if... Oh my god, does he see that? That hatchery right near his base? Because we've been talking about everything else in the whole world. But yeah, he doesn't actually know about that yet. So this is really deadly. If he had seen the Roach Warren, he'd be much more prepared for this. But the 6 Lings were on top of the Adept, so he could not actually scout it. I'm surprised the Adept even lived. I think he might just die, though. With the hatchery this close, he's going to go find it. Okay, this is where you start making shield batteries.
Here we go.
You finish that
Creep
wall
has been spotted.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, now the Oracle in an odd position here as there's a Queen. They could try to drive it back. I'm worried that the shield batteries aren't even going to be done in time. Not bad targeting, though.
Great pickup on the Queen. Great pickup on the Queen. Going after the Ravager. This is really powerful defense so far, but some Lings breaking in right there. The probes have to be pulled.
Warp gate's not done yet.
Okay, just now finishing. The Oracle looks like it's out of energy. That's a big, big deal. Another one comes out. Has to take out that Queen first. Oh, there's not even a second Queen building, actually.
Okay, warp gate finishes, so we have some more warp ins coming in. Looks like it's going to be a sentry first. The Oracles, I believe, are both out of energy.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that is a big issue right there. The Queen just adding in damage all over the place. The shield batteries doing their best here, but this gateway looks like it's going to fall. Oh, my God.
The gateway goes down. It's going to be up to the Adepts to try to hold this. There is one force field available. All right, I'm sorry, is there not? Yeah, there is a sentry. It's just above the hit points of the force field, excuse me.
Mass shield batteries, but there's only one pylon here, actually.
Yeah.
If he were to target said pylon,
said base would be unpowered.
Yeah.
Did he actually hold this?
So far,
this game goes on. There's
how many gates does he actually have, though? Does he only have one gateway?
There's going to be a garage sale for these shield batteries, and they're not going to go for very much.
He's going to heal that. Come on, shield batteries, heal that pylon.
The symbiosis of the shield battery and the pylon.
Yeah, it is real here. Oh, my gosh.
You can see the Oracles are staying back, trying to jump in at the last possible second. Here we go.
Yeah.
Targeting on the Queens. Damage being distributed very, very quickly. Some Lings have breached us, so it's actually probes versus Lings. This is a nail biter of a game.
It really is, but
I think he just held it.
Dude, this is a clutch hold if he is actually going to hold this one. Like, saving those Oracles for that long, if he hadn't done that, he would not be able to break this because he needed that extra energy. It felt like he was going to be broken so many times here.
This goes to show you, no disrespect to Leenock, but the real difference between the rush strategies that Scarlett came in here with and what Leenock is trying to use right now.
Certainly.
Ouch. Takes out the Ravager before it really gets to be a factor in this game.
Oh, my God. This is almost 100% held at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
The Void Ray coming out just does it.
42 probes to 25 drones. So even though some probes are killed there by Zest, Zest is in a very good position. GG!
Yeah.
Zest wins 2-0.
No, 1-1.
1-1. Sorry. That was crazy, though. Honestly, I have to say that hold was brilliant. I wonder if it was a mistake to have the Overlord in a location where the Phoenix would be drawn to the creep.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean by that. Like, if he had just sent the Overlord in so that the Phoenix, when it goes to attack it, doesn't get in creep range, maybe that's enough to break through or something, but Zest scouts it, barely holds on with everything, like the probe pulls, all those shield batteries he needed, every single one, and especially holding the energy on those Oracles.
It's an interesting situation for the Zerg now because, with the way the shield battery is operating, we see Protoss have holds that don't look like anything we've seen before.
Yeah.
And I think perhaps some Zergs, even the best in the world, are trying to wrap their heads around, the feel for that. If you played enough StarCraft 2, as a battle's about to happen, you can glance at the screen and generally get a feel for the way it's supposed to go, based off the positioning, what upgrades you have, the angle that the spells can be cast at. But that's tough. I mean, when those Oracles are able to snipe down some of those Ravagers, it was just too much.
It certainly was. Ascension to Ire, our last map here. Who will go on to face Innovation?
We've got so many cool soundtracks here at the GSL.
Zest.
That
Titan EX1.
that
Leenock.
rush came very close to killing Zest. Zest was almost eliminated by Leenock in the loser match in the round of 16. This is not where Zest wants to end it.
Well, Leenock, he's a tenacious guy. He is probably still going to be in GSLs for years to come.
You would think
he's
so, yeah.
he's somebody who, we don't, I think, look at him the same way we look at so many other top Zergs, but you can see in his games, he does prepare, he comes in with a plan. He is constantly adapting to the changes, whether it be in the meta or in the actual patches for StarCraft 2. So, I mean, what do we think is going to happen here from Leenock this time around? I don't think
It's hard to say.
I mean, I thought he had some pretty decent mid-late game. But yeah, I guess maybe not going for a rush like that might be the play.
I'd like to see just Hydraling Bane out of him. It seems to be one of Zest's real weak points is to fight against, a reasonable economy, 60-plus drone Hydraling Bane. Sometimes he goes into carriers a bit too quick. He's had these Oracle openings, right? Just over and over and over in this matchup. So I don't really want to see these roach rushes. It's hard to catch someone off guard if they use their Oracles just perfectly. And that's a hard thing to do, indeed. But the Oracles, they shoot down, and roaches just don't shoot up.
Unfortunately, they cannot just stand on their hind legs and fire at air units.
I would say, fortunately, this game might be very broken.
Imagine
if they could
that,
shoot
roaches hitting air units.
Oh my god! How do you counter carriers, roaches?
You got a Zerg player good Mutilus that just flies over roaches and they die. Oh, I almost got it.
It would be
his mouth was full of water. I almost got the water to come out of your nose, Artosis.
Well, I'm just thinking how especially stupid the Mutilus could be in ZVZ if roaches hit air.
Not a single roach would have died as 12 mutas fly over, and
oh man,
most are killed before they get to fire. Really,
Mutilus strategies would go out of style very quickly in ZVZ.
That's right. The Mutilus would become the scout, like the Protoss scout from Brood War. It's like, well, we don't really know what to do with this thing. So we have Zergling Speed on the way. Par for the course, we have Phoenix coming out here for Zest, and we're going to see the Oracles after that.
Yeah, he's trying right now to scout as best he can with this first Adept. In fact, a second Adept coming in. Okay.
And here comes that moment now. A pretty good surround here with some of these Lings, though.
Yeah, some slippery Adepts. One will make it out. Not a ton of intel, to be honest. Trying to sneak in as much as he can. And because he doesn't have a ton of intel, going to make this shield battery. Obviously, that'll make the one Adept hold on against about 450 Zerglings. But, just if you don't know for sure, I think it's probably worth the shield battery to not be eliminated in the round of 16.
Yeah, it should be noted that Zerg is just droning up, but it's not a big deal, really, if they got the shield battery. I guess in a perfect world, you would only have the exact amount you needed, but that's the whole thing about Zergs, is we're seeing just how flexible they can be as far as aggression to macro games at the start.
This is one of the things that went wrong against Scarlett in Game 1 is Zest had to turn on his Oracle multiple times at his wall because he did not have a shield battery to support his Adept. So, this is just like a little change we've seen from Zest, making him a bit safer. And, it's not that many minerals.
Well, it also shows that he's such a great player. He's making these small adjustments early on. And that's, I think, one of the great things about the fact that we have these group stages, like we do, where the player has to, if they're going to move on to a deep part of the tournament, they have to be good at multiple matchups and multiple different opponents.
That's the second time I've seen misclicks from Zest with his Oracles. He attacked that Spore. That was second or third time today, in fact. It's kind of interesting.
Well, it can be pretty tricky. Those drones die so quickly.
Yeah.
Try to shift-click them down, especially if you do end up shift-clicking, in which case they wouldn't hit the Spore. There's a chance they'd pull that drone away. And then you end up getting fished through the Spore and end up losing an Oracle. So
you're quite right. If you're going to be sitting there micromanage them, a lot of times it's better to just, find the rhythm. Feel the rhythm. It's like, what is it? Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme, something, something. It's bobsled time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know Cool Runnings?
Cool Runnings. Oh, that's so fitting,
one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah.
One of the greatest stories ever told.
That's right. We have 4 Templars that have just now been warped in to become 2 Archons for this harassment. We saw Zest do this a little bit, I believe, even at IEM Pyeongchang.
Oh, yeah. This is a build that Zest really likes. It's one of his preferred strategies, is to go Oracle into Archons with charge.
And it almost seems like when he does this type of strategy, he doesn't care if his opponent knows he's doing it. I think he just finds it overall a pretty clean build.
I think you're right. Like, it kind of is good against everything, and it does certainly help to force these roaches out here, which slows down any Hydralink Bane type of play.
We did see one Oracle get gunned down.
Yeah.
But overall, a nice play there by Zest. It's hard for Zerg to deal with this. It can't be emphasized enough. You know, when the Archons come and the Oracles are there and the Phoenixes, there's so many ways that the Protoss can manipulate the Zerg's army so that there's a favorable exchange. And really, when you look at the Archons, the fact that these are like 90% shields, you can do so much damage. The War Prism can pick them up and pull away. And then the moment that you think you're going to lose, you pull away, and their shields are going to come back eventually.
Yeah.
You rinse and repeat.
Pretty quickly, to be honest.
And the Zerg is hemorrhaging so many units in this process.
Storm on the way right now. Of course, he's getting a ton of scouting intel while doing this. The damage is almost icing on the cake, right? Just kind of preparing for anything that Leenock may have coming. Obviously, a decent amount of Hydras being made. He has those Roaches to support right now. One of the main things that Zest is going to want to look out for is, will there be a Lurker Den?
Little victories here for Zest again.
Yeah, seriously.
Jeez, 5 drones killed. And delayed mining on the 4th base. Leenock is still powering up, but we're getting to some very important moments here. Another Immortal is about to pop out here. Psionic Storm is done. It's a whole new beast when Psi Storm's done. Facing off against a Protoss, because they're just very hard to break at that point in time. And even if you have a decent surround, if you're not ready for a Psi Storm to hit part of your army and you don't control it, the amount of damage that happens so quickly is insane.
Oh, yeah. It can just ruin your whole time, man. They Psi Storm some Banelings and you don't have them out of there. And ooh, goodbye. Lurker Den coming up, Spire coming up right now as well. I haven't seen Baneling speed, so that... that's definitely one thing here that Zest doesn't have to worry about at the moment. Making a lot of Immortals, a lot of scouting going on by Zest still as well.
So, the 4th base for Zest is being taken, and we generally see when Zest has his 4th base up and running, that's where he completes the circle of tech. He's going to get his Stargates up. And he's going to try to get a read on what Zerg's doing, and that's what this Phoenix is out to try to spot for right now, is what are those key tech structures that Leenock has, and when can Zest actually attack and still survive a counterattack from Leenock?
And he sees the moment that the infestation pick goes up, and that is very important, because when you go for this style of units, this unit composition rather from Zest, really you're worried about Broodlords. That's the main unit that can counter this army.
Sorry, is there a War Prism with these Archons? I don't see anything coming this way.
No, those Archons just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird.
Yeah,
and I still don't know where the War Prism is now. There it is. The War Prism slept in, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what happened? I think he let the Archons out, and he was going to do a Zealot Warp in to attack that new base. And I think he uses all army hockey. I think he pulled a hero.
Oh.
I think he saw the Roaches come, and he's just like, okay, all army, let's go up here and deal with this, because, yeah, he's had pretty good scouting, so I think he knew that he just needed to kill that. So losing 2 Archons, yeah.
Let's see if Leenock can actually hold this base down here. I think the War Prism might be trying to... No, it's actually going to stay put. I thought it might try to go into the main here, too. This angling, by the way, is pretty good for the Zealots. You're going to get a pretty nice exchange. The Lurker push is coming up here. I think between the Immortals and the Templars, this is much easier said than done here for the Zerg.
Great spread of Lurkers.
Yep, well, he's going to have to, because with Storm, if they're bunched up, they're just going to die.
Some Archons being made. I think... Oh my gosh, quite a few units actually going towards that 4th base as well. Looks like a flank is being set up, but his 4th base is not super well defended. Could Leenock actually get a pick off here?
That would be pretty huge. We see the army actually coming up here from the south, so he may end up hitting Leenock's army from behind. These Hydras don't really have an easy way to escape. Not clear if the actual Nexus is going to be picked up. It was only 3 workers killed. Meanwhile, the Lurker push appears to be resuming over here at the 3rd base for Zest.
Yeah, Zest is doing a good job defending against everything so far this game. Leenock is maxing out, oh my god, 19 Mutalisks.
This is pretty cool. Not surprising from Leenock, but definitely pretty cool because there's not a real anti-Muta army here.
No, it's not. But we showed the one Phoenix in the top right. He's making 2 carriers. That doesn't help. Those 19 Mutas, like, the thing is, you can defend against that. Does he have a Prism still? He does have a Prism still. It's out on the map, though.
He's got 2 Phoenixes, too. Is he still making more Phoenixes?
I don't know. Maybe he realized that Mutas are on the way.
And this hatchery goes down, which means it's 4 base to 4 base. The question is, can Zerg just bludgeon the Protoss and just get in here immediately and do damage?
Here's the thing. This area, this wall, Archons can't get through there, right?
That's a good point.
So you have to warp in Stalkers at this point. He doesn't have Blink. I mean, this is a little bit tough to deal with, to be honest. He is switching over into Phoenix production.
So I believe he has 2 total.
Tags the Mutas. I don't think he needs them tagged. I know where they're going. Right up here. Okay, a couple cannons, so that'll like slow him down a bit, but he loses both of those Phoenixes. This Mutalisk tech switch actually doing massive damage to Zest. Oh god, the counterattack.
So the problem is that Zerg has so much supply of Mutalisks, and these Mutas are actually doing a decent amount of damage. 20 probes killed here,
Yeah.
but he has to choose. He's going to attack or defend. Some great side storms here. Perhaps not enough, though. These guys are starting to really tear each other apart.
Yeah, Zest killing a base, so this brings Leenock down to 3 bases, really. A 4th is being remade as well.
But I think this base will go down as well, Artosis.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the small army number is going to be enough to deal with that. But with that push from Leenock taking out Zest 3rd, I think that then Zest can go uncontested and just knock these bases down like bowling pins as he moves through.
You need a lot of Mutas to kill 5-6 Archons, but some of these Archons actually getting spread from the other ones, so the Mutas come in and can actually battle a little bit.
He needs to keep this group together. The Immortals counter the Roaches, the Archons counter the Mutas. It's actually Leenock on 3 bases, Zest on 3 bases, and he recalls home.
Good recall.
Yep.
Definitely an excellent recall there. Does not want to lose the rest of that army. He still has got a strong army, but Greater Spire is on the way. And when you're sitting here making Phoenixes and your opponent's going to have like Hydras plus Broodlords, that's a little bit hard to deal with.
But there are enough Phoenixes. These Phoenixes can answer the Mutas, and they can also pick up the Lurkers, nullifying their use in this game.
Good micro right here. The Phoenixes coming up on the side, helping out. Oh, great side storms as well. Leenock losing so much of his army here.
I think Zest is beginning to really flood the map, and you can see the unit combinations are not. They're not really going to do that much at this point in time, and in fact, the Mutas are just going to be killed off as the Phoenixes can catch up oh so easily. Look at that. Great pickups there at the end. Leenock's army continuing to thin out. I'd say that the one that he remixed from here is going to have a lot less sophistication. It's mostly Hydras, and Storms can easily just obliterate those.
This is... I mean, this game was pretty good and pretty close, but it seems like Zest is going to be able to finish off Leenock. He got up to that Greater Spire tech, but just can't even go for it. Yeah.
You know, this has actually been a great game through and through. Zest is not actually mining from his natural base. I don't know if that's going to matter because Zest is still going around the map smashing different locations that Leenock has.
And even if he loses this army, he has a half army stuck behind buildings back at his house, back at his main.
We call it his house.
His house.
This is Zest's house. So, wow, 3 Archons there.
Yeah, man. Hey, when you recall, you got to kill some of your buildings.
Yeah.
Archons cannot get through normal walls.
That's exactly what he's going to have to do here. Again, great pickups by Zest. This is keeping Leenock very small. And the Phoenix is still continuing to move around the map. Here we go.
It's such good usage of the Phoenixes, too, because once you kill the Mutas and you have this many Phoenixes, you're never going to see Mutas again that game.
Yeah.
This game would have to go to like 45 minutes in the weirdest way to see Mutas again.
Different structures on both sides destroyed. Tech paths have been reset.
Truly bizarre stuff. By the way, he's not mining from his natural, but he has 27 instead of 16 probes on his 3rd, so... Or I guess it's his 4th, technically. This game is just so hectic. Zest is having a hard time managing this economy. Yeah, we keep going back there. It's like, you have to kill that cannon. You have to do it.
Oh, no, you don't, Artosis. Watch this.
Yeah.
How's that for efficiency? Well, now that he has that to add to his army,
yeah, it's a loss.
I think he's in very good shape.
I do like that Leenock is going into Lurkers. That's like kind of the one unit that can fight against what he has. And I mean, obviously Zest, you look at this army and you think, well, this is a clear Zest victory. But really, Leenock doesn't have any other options. Lurkers are about it based on the army he has and the type of the hurtful ways his economy has been damaged.
It's funny because this was such a slugfest of a game, but eventually things calmed down as they both had to go back and try to reassemble their bases. It is still Zest who's got kind of a pin here on Leenock. Leenock would like for these Hydras to try to at least have the opportunity to move out on the map, but the moment that Leenock moves out, the Phoenixes will immediately come in and get a bunch of free kills. Although the Phoenix number has been whittled down, I guess it's still okay because the Mutas are no longer a threat in this game.
Yeah. Carrier production begins once again. Not with the greatest of economies, but he does see the Lurkers out there. Even adaptive Talons on the way. So, definitely committing to these Lurkers, and I think that this is the right call from Leenock. A small number of carriers won't fare super well against those Hydras unless you nail them with Psystorm. And the Lurkers can oftentimes prevent that to some degree.
So the
crazy games today, Tastes.
Oh, this has been a wonderful day, man.
Seriously good day of games, and not just because Scarlett won the group.
No, I mean, just overall, the quality strats and plays that we're having,
yeah,
it's something else.
And we were talking a lot about this in the beginning of the cast about how I and Pyeongchang just had like a serious amount of different plays, strategy styles all coming to bear.
Yeah.
And we're kind of seeing that today as well, even though we're only watching 4 players. A lot of different stuff is occurring here. A lot of crazy games.
By the way, this is another big victory here for Leenock, excuse me, for Zest, since he's going to lose some of these over here. But Leenock with some pretty good control on the map, basically denying any kind of push here from Zest. But Zest is going to have to come out pretty soon and do something. He is maxed out. It is Leenock who's still basically reassembling his army. We see drops are available, and that Leenock's basically back to 5 functional bases.
Yeah, that is an important thing to point out. They've both hit their max, so stuff can get really wild and crazy again. Zest, by the way, has had great observer placement in these games.
Is this army going to keep going up? He could end up intercepting the Overlords. No.
Yeah, he doesn't realize it. Like,
he has no idea.
Zest is going to intercept this.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't realize that there was an observer in the path of these Overlords, because normally you don't have observers sitting around the map in this matchup. That's like a PvT thing mostly.
And it looks like at least 2 Overlords are going to be picked off. I think he could actually come in with the Phoenixes and pick up some of them as well. You know, I have to say, after the big fighting happened on the map, it just seems like Zest was able to keep aggression. And slowly but surely, Leenock seems to be falling apart in this game. Like, this hatchery, 100% will be picked off. We already have 22 drones that have been killed. The drop was denied. And usually with a drop like that, you really have 1 or 2 big shots to pull that off. Because after that, the drops just become part of the game itself, and Protoss is prepared for it.
Well, Dark Shrine is on the way. I really like that as well. That's cool. You know, when the game is this kind of dirty, it's hard to cross all your T's and dot all your I's, right? Like, to actually have spores in the right places and always remember to have overseers with your army. This has not been a normal game by any means. A lot of corruptors out there right now to help deal against these carriers. How many carriers does he actually have? Is it 3, 4? How many?
I think it's 3 in this army. It looks like a 4th one is going to pop out.
Okay.
And I think he's going to not have any more supply to really go for that. In fact, he's just now maxing out. Oh, man, that's a lot of lurker shots you're eating.
Yeah.
But he does tag some of them. However, I think Zest more interested in ignoring the lurkers since they don't have time to try to reposition up here.
Oh, man, he's got these Vipers in here. Let's see what he can actually snag. Most certainly these are for abduct.
Problem is that Psystorm is still a real thing in this game.
Pretty good dodges on these Psystorms. 5 Broods on the way also.
Now he's smashed that expansion. He can always just go up.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to fight Leenock. In fact, it's Leenock's burden to try to defend this base. Oh, look at these Templars that are already down here. Getting the mothership.
That was a very good abduct. Does lose the other one without a spell, but definitely worth right there on the Vipers. Brings up his lurkers, burrows them instantly here.
Immortal's gunning down some of those lurkers, but I think overall the damage output for Leenock is maybe too high. Zest will have to give up this position. But does that really matter?
His anti-ground here is madness. Look at all these lurkers and broods. They're going to be able to cut through everything so well, but the Psy Storms come down. Some crazy Psy Storms right there. Is there enough anti-air to finish up the broods, though?
Some of these Zergs are just too bunched up when the fights occur. A Zealot attack down at the bottom takes out an expansion there.
But hold on, this isn't over yet. Actually, Leenock breaking through right now despite losing his bases.
Yeah, but it's two base to 5.
Yeah.
And I don't see this army going all the way across the map without Zest having just geared up to try to fight this off in time.
Certainly a good point. These carriers retreating, trying to rebuild their interceptors frantically here. That last Immortal will definitely be picked off. And
Look at
in
this.
fact,
He actually begins to then bully the army back. And I don't think... Wait, there's no minerals, right? Yeah, Leenock's dead. GG. Zest does it. Winning that series, he now gets to go to face off against Innovation. That's the final boss for Zest as far as I'm concerned.
well, he lost against the final boss. This is the vice boss.
All right. This is when you go to the final boss, but it's on easy mode. You ticked it down because you just want to beat the game and move on with your life.
It's like, okay, listen, Dark Souls Scarlett Edition. I don't want any piece of that.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm gonna go on to innovation mode.
That's right. This
Little
is more,
bit easier.
This is more of a Cuphead boss, really. So, Leenock, I thought he had a great showing. Honestly, it was back and forth, and there was a lot of skirmishes throughout the map. Zest came out on top, and a deserved win, but it's not done yet. When we come back, our final best of 3, Zest versus Innovation.